Ladies and gentlemen, I take pride in introducing the greatest show on earth.
Hi, everybody. This is Scott Gordon. I'm sitting here in the studio at 1:24 p.m. on Saturday, October 11th. As many of you probably heard, I was in the hospital for a few days. I developed what's known as a acute cellulitis infection in my right wrist. What it did, it caused the wrist to swell up to about 2 to 2.5 times its normal size. All red, very painful, and I just was stuck in the hospital. I was in a lot of pain, so I could not go and see Uncle Floyd this week. So I figured what I would do is I'd come here and I would expand on one of the conversations that we have been having on a previous podcast, and that was things that were censored from the Uncle Floyd Show in one way or another. And I don't know if I'm going to do a podcast with Floyd next week or not. It all depends on if this infection is gone. Right now it's still kind of red, and I'm on really heavy antibiotics, and I'm not supposed to drive with them. So as soon as I can get myself off those, which will hopefully be by next Wednesday or Thursday, I'll be able to go and see Floyd. But I don't want to take the chance of bringing any extra irritants into Floyd's room at the rehab center where he's getting his physical therapy and stuff. So that's the way we are. I just don't want to take the chance of bringing him anything he doesn't need. So, now, on to the other stuff that we're talking about. Very frequently, we had guests come on who caused a censorship problem. One of those being Professor Erwin Corey. Was a great guy, a great friend of ours. He was on the show 3 or 4 times, and we had a great time talking with him and having fun with him. But he was extremely political. And at the time, our president was Ronald Reagan, and he did not like Ronald Reagan whatsoever. And he dropped a bunch. We asked him specifically not to talk about Reagan. And he said, okay. And as soon as the cameras rolled, he said, you know what I hate? I hate that F-bomb Reagan. And that was it. You know, we let him go. We let him do his thing. And we just had to go in and drop words and things like that. Eventually, that will show up on the Tuesday night live stream that we have every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. You can get to it at theunclefloydshow.tv and watch it. I'll mention that again later on. And there are other things that happened that, by other artists. Some artists came in and played music that was not suitable for broadcast. And we had to just totally dump them out. It happens. It's this kind of thing that happens when you're dealing with other artists. You know, other artists have a different idea of what is supposed to happen. So that's it as far as other artists are concerned. Now, I talked about the puppet thing that Floyd and I did, where we were behind a curtain with 2 clown puppets that were arguing, saying, "You said that." "No, I didn't." "Yes, you did." "No, I didn't." "You said it." I did not say it. You said it. I didn't say it. And it was a close-up on the clowns, and it zoomed back, and on the top of the puppet stage, it said, gubernatorial political debate. And at the time, there was a gubernatorial election going on, and the station management decided it was not a good idea for us to be making fun of the political candidates. They might take offense at it. So, that was cut. Nobody ever saw that routine. Now other things. Muggsy. Muggsy was pretty much his own person. He was one of those people that we loved him dearly. He was very talented, but he had a tendency to, when you told him not to do something, he would immediately do it. Without hesitation, do exactly what you asked him not to do. And he would come up with great ideas. One of the milder ones was Sammy Hagar was working with Van Halen. And he did a song called Love Walks In. And it was a big hit on the radio. And Muggsy got the idea, okay, Sammy Hagar, and there's Hagar the Horrible in the comic strips. Let's put them together. Let's make a nice mashup of that. We'll call it Van Hagar and the Horribles. So we all got together, everybody but Floyd. This was one of the routines that we did to give Floyd a chance to change and not waste too much studio time. We all dressed up like Vikings with helmets with horns. My helmet had one horn going up and the other horn going down. And we would just go on there, and Muggsy would pre-record a parody of a song. And Love Walks In was a song he decided to do a parody of. Now, Weenie's outfit, she dressed up like a Valkyrie, and she wore a long furry coat, and she put as breastplates 2 Volkswagen Bug hubcaps. And we changed the music a little bit. The introduction to it went da 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 da, with a little bit of a cymbal in between the phrases. We put a big gong in the middle of the 2 phrases. And I stood there with a rubber-headed hammer, and every time the gong went, I would whack one of the hubcaps. Weenie thought this was hysterical. The station management did not. They made us redo the sketch without the contact. So I actually have that, and one of these days I will show it on the Tuesday night live stream that you can get at theunclefloydshow.tv, and you'll see what I'm talking about. That had to be redone. The music was pre-recorded. It was a beautiful rendition of a parody of that song, and we just couldn't do it. Now, another one of Muggsy's bits that got us into a lot of trouble. We had to change it. It became a sketch known as Sneezy Tops. Sneezy Tops was Muggsy, me, and I think it was Artie, with long beards playing music, faking, again, a pre-record by Muggsy. And what we did was we sneezed at a certain point in the song. And Muggsy originally wrote this as an extremely ethnic, almost racist bit. Today it would be considered racist. At the time, it was Certain people thought it was funny, certain people did not. The station management did not. We made them very Jewish and had not only the long beards, but long curls. And the songs were very Jewish oriented. There were Yiddish words in them. There was one song called Moil. I won't get into the specifics, but it just was not, it would not be suitable today at all. And it got very, very much changed because of it. Now, in a live venue, Muggsy actually got us into a lot of trouble. Got us kicked out of a club that we played in several times. It was an Irish bar in Clifton, New Jersey. And it was on Lakeview Avenue. And those of you who know Clifton would probably know the name of the bar. I won't get into it. But the owner specifically told Muggsy not to do a specific Willie Half Nelson song. It was the parody of On the Road Again. This has never been done on television. We did it in the live shows, and it went over very, very well in the nightclubs. But the owner of this bar, whose name was Eamon, did not like it. And he told Muggsy specifically, do not do that song. Muggsy decided it was up to him to do the song. And that's the way Muggsy was. Unfortunately, at the end of the night, the guy paid us and said, I don't want to see any of you guys in here ever again. And this was very uncomfortable for me because he lived 3 blocks away from me, from where I live. We were basically close neighbors, and I knew the man personally. And he would not talk to me after that. I tried to explain to him I had nothing to do with it. Muggsy was all on his own with it, but that was it. It was the end of a friendship. So, that's that. And this is a little bit of a look into what actually went on. And if you ever run into me in person, I will tell you in person the exact reasons why certain things weren't done, why Sneezy Top wasn't acceptable, and the song that Muggsy did. It was a takeoff of On the Road Again. And those of you who've seen the nightclub show know what that song was. So that's that. That's it for me. I'm going to try and see Floyd next week. I apologize for the fact that I happened to get sick and ended up in the hospital and couldn't go to see him. So thank you so much for coming to this. And as Floyd always says, you are the most important thing to any show. You guys out there, the audience, you are the best. Without you, this wouldn't exist. And we are so touched. Floyd and I are both so touched that you remember us and you like to come here and listen to us talk, me talk today. Listen to us talk, and you come to our Tuesday night at 8. We have a date on Stage It, and you can get to that by Tuesday night at 8 Eastern Time. Go to theunclefloydshow.tv. And there is a small fee to come to it, but everything after the cost of doing that goes to Floyd. It helps support him while he can't work. Obviously, he's an entertainer. That's what he does. He's in a physical therapy facility, and he cannot work. He cannot go out and entertain. That, with the old clips of the show, and this with our podcast, is the only thing we have to get to you, and it allows Floyd to perform a little bit. So next week, hopefully back here with Floyd. As long as this infection in my arm clears up, it's looking pretty good today. It's a lot less than it was. And we'll see you next time. I'm Scott Gordon. This is the Uncle Floyd Podcast. And if you'd like to get a question in so that Floyd and I can answer it, email it to ufpodcast@sge-inc.com. That's ufpodcast@sge-inc.com. And we'll answer it here on the podcast for you, and we'll see you next time. I'm Scott Gordon. Bye.
This program was produced in the studios of Scott Gordon Enterprises, Incorporated in Paramus, New Jersey.